Hello and welcome back to Exothermic Plays Games. I'm Exothermic and the date today is Sunday, August 11th, 2024. I've been doing a countdown of my favorite video games of all time through each day of the year, and coming in at number 144 is Diablo II. Okay, before I get into the actual game here, I want to mention that if you like these videos, I announced a Patreon at the start of the month, and that goes live on September 1st. You can check out the info from the announcement video in the description below so you can make your own rankings and maybe even tell me how wrong I am in a ton of future videos. On to the game. The leap from Diablo, which I ranked as my 169th favorite game, to Diablo 2 is astounding. In that game, classes were largely the same, except for base stats and a handful of other small qualities, and you didn't really leave the town of Tristram and its cathedral. In Diablo 2, however, the class system is greatly expanded to include 6 classes in the base game, and an additional 2 in the expansion. I praised the first game for its timeless simplicity, but the sequel's greatest strength is the degree to which every character is very different. At this point, I should mention that the footage you're seeing is from Diablo II Resurrected, a 2021 remaster of the game and its expansion. Fascinatingly, and I didn't realize this until double-checking some things for scripting this video, Blizzard did not handle this remaster, which was passed over to Vicarious Visions, the same studio that remastered yesterday's game, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. Clearly, they understand what they're doing, because those are both phenomenal remasters that bring these classic games into the modern age without sacrificing anything from the original gameplay. The only changes to gameplay here are quality of life things that don't impact actual design, like automatic pickup of gold and ease of moving items across different characters. Once you've made your character, you spawn into the world and are ready for adventure. All of the gameplay you're seeing is of a sorceress I made. I'm starting from scratch here because I just bought the remaster before starting recording for the channel. Most of my experience with the game was about 18 years and 4 computers ago. Each class has their own totally unique set of skill trees, with 3 different trees for each class. Each level, you gain 1 point to spend on a passive or activated ability, with many having level requirements and prerequisites of prior skills in the tree. At first, I went heavily into fire, but then I switched to frost once I could put points into the Frost Nova skill to give me heavy burst damage against groups. There's a ton of different strategies and character builds you can experiment with, and while I didn't, there's a lot of math you can do if you want to theory craft everything, especially when you consider stacking bonuses. Many of the skills connect with each other, giving bonuses to each other based on how many points you have put into the other skills. For example, every point you put into Ice Bolt increases the damage of your Frost Nova, and vice versa. But Ice Bolt synergizes with far more skills throughout the tree, meaning that while Frost Nova does more damage early in the game, Ice Bolt scales much better later in the game. To add another wrinkle to the math, while a lot of the powerful gear in the game provides extra stat bonuses, which is nice, much of the strength from this gear comes from providing extra skill levels, making theory crafting even more interesting the more you dig into what's possible. Thankfully, you don't have to worry about all of the trajectory of your scaling, as you can talk to someone in your camp to reset all of your skill points and redistribute them whenever you'd like. The combat itself is, as you've been seeing, your pretty typical Diablo shenanigans. Bind an attack to left click, bind an attack to right click. You can put quick binds on the F keys to toggle between options. Juggling a ton of spells later in the game gets pretty active with both hands, which I know I enjoy. There's a potion inventory that you can organize on 1 through 4, and once you get used to it, managing it is actually pretty interesting. You see, potions you use stack in this game. So in theory, no matter how hard the enemy is, if you chug enough potions, you could probably kill just about anything. Running low on potions in the middle of a fight? That's alright. Throw down a town portal with the click of a button and hop in. You can heal up, buy more potions, and go back to the fight. This even works against bosses. Make sure to throw the portal down ASAP though, otherwise you'll mess up like me and die a horrible, painful death. Death is definitely meaningful in this game, by the way. When you die, you just respawn back in town, but you've lost all of your money and all of your gear you had equipped. You can get it back though, as long as you navigate back to your corpse to loot yourself. The combat is a deeply rewarding, intricate beast with a ton of room for exploration with each class. Builds have gotten fairly solved, and you can look up tons of guides, but honestly, I'd advise against it, at least during your first playthrough on each class. The learning curve and discovery of different synergies is a lot of fun, so don't deprive yourself of that. Not only did the gameplay take some big strides compared to its predecessor, but the story did too. At the end of the first game, you seemingly defeat Diablo, but then must contain his soul stone yourself. Diablo 2's plot shows that your character in the first game was not strong enough to resist this corruption and is leaving a path of destruction for your new character to follow. It's a really great plot device that immediately gives returning players a personal interest in the story, but also an easy reason to keep moving to new locations. Diablo 2 has you running through large parts of Sanctuary, the world of the Diablo games, with drastically different environments in a series of 5 acts. Along the way you encounter and kill several of the lesser evils, which are basically very high-ranking demons of hell, and 2 of the 3 prime evils. It's a pretty great, long story, with a ton of content and interesting enemies, with some twists and turns to the narrative that I think hold up today. And while all of that's great, we're here for stupid fun times, like the secret cow level. Through a variety of seemingly useless items and late game shenanigans, you can, in fact, teleport to a cow level with demon cows, and so many of them for you to slaughter. It's awesome. It epitomizes everything that's great about these games. It's dumb, it's fun, you kill a lot of stuff. Join me tomorrow as I talk about my 142nd favorite game, where I also kill a lot of stuff, and in increasingly unlikely ways, and I hope I'm learning more history than historical fiction.